There's one thing that everybody forgets when there has been infidelity in a couple, not just infidelity, but cheating. My name is Cheryl Camarillo, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I'm also a certified sex addiction therapist and a certified sex therapist. And I have over 30 years of experience. So that means I've also worked with children and I've worked with the betrayed partner, the person with the addiction issue. There's just a lot of pieces that come into play when something like this hits a family. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by saying that you can assume that a kid doesn't know what's going on when a discovery has happened because all you have to do is look at your parents and realize that something's not right. Maybe mom's got red eyes. Maybe dad is staying away from the house all the time. Maybe there's a lot more arguing. Clearly, there's been an impact to the couple, and therefore it's an impact to the child because they're watching what's going on and they're waiting for the parents who are in charge to let them know what's going on. Otherwise, it becomes a whole situation of fill in the blank. They're going to be sitting there and they're going to be thinking, hey, I know something's not right. And I've heard a few things here and there. And now I don't know what's going to happen to our family. I wanted to go ahead and say that not arguing in front of the kids, excellent policy. I would stay with that, but I also want you to think about if you are arguing behind closed doors, be aware that your kids more than likely know that's going on. They don't have to know the details. They don't have to witness the degree of either sorrow and loss or the rage or all kinds of feelings that are being expressed between a couple when discovery happens. So just don't assume that your kids aren't catching on that there's increased arguing around the house. The next thing I wanted to share is actually don't share your adult issues with kids. I think it's really important for you to not sit down and specifically say, hey, daddy cheated on me, or hey, your mom is using porn, or your dad is on the dating lines, talking to all kinds of women. So it's the details that you have no idea are being sponged up, and you don't know where that's going to lead down the way. I'm going to say that my husband's father was a person that was taking his child from partner to affair partner, and it was causing a lot of confusion, I think, for my husband. This is around maybe, I don't know, I'm gonna guesstimate it could have been 4 or 5, but I remember him saying when he was 6, he asked for a toy, and his mother said, "What toy?" And he said, "At house," which happened to be one of the dad's employees, and it was there that she figured out that he's cheating on her, and it turned into a huge family crisis. And the other side of that is by taking your child and sitting them someplace while you're involved with an affair partner, things like putting them in front of the TV, providing them with whatever snacks that they wanted, and toys, that it was definitely the beginnings of a road where more addictions could come down the line because if you're stressed, these are some things that you might choose to do. And these were things that made my husband happy as a child, and these are things that he continued to do as an adult. That's just a small example. The other side of that was that self-soothing happened through pornography use. And so pornography use has a level of addiction that comes along with it and is also considered a form of cheating on the relationship. When you're making a commitment to the relationship and you have not discussed using pornography as part of the relationship, then it becomes a source of pain and trauma for your partner. The other side of that is if you declared you were no longer using that and it's been going on for years, the discovery after years that's still being utilized is devastating because now it makes a partner come into this state of how long has this been going on and how long has my world not been the way I thought it was. And there is a lot to be said about deceptive sexual practices. Just wanted to discuss that. I do think that you can talk to your kids about what is going on, but at age appropriate levels. If your 6-year-old is seeing you cry, how do you explain that to them? It's something as simple as mommy's not happy right now, but she'll be okay. Just thank you for asking. I don't know if I would say thank you, but being able to just talk at that level. And then the other thing is also observing, does your child need maybe a play therapist when they're that young? When they're a little bit older, when they're like 10, 11, they've had friends whose parents have separated or divorced, or mom and dad are no longer together, then they just start reading in between the lines and filling in the blanks. We know where this is going, and they're not talking to us about it. So it's a sense of betrayal for kids as well. So that would be one area. The other thing is sometimes I know that couples start saying things in extremes that aren't necessarily meant, but they get said in front of kids. So this was the reason I think we're going to get divorced, or, I just need you to get out of here. I don't want you in my life. Those kinds of things make a child start to think, whoa, I love both my parents. Am I supposed to pick one or the other? And it's gonna be comforting to them if you can come to them and just talk about the fact that, "Hey, we're not happy with each other now, and so we're gonna be working through this disagreement. I just want you to do the things that you normally do, and if you have questions, come and ask me, and I'll let you know as much as I can. But I also want you to know that sometimes mommy and daddy have business that's their own personal business. It's only between parents, and we can't or we won't talk to you about that because it's important for you to just be a child. And you'd be surprised at how much a child will understand that. You might say, Cheryl, that's just too high. But I've heard of kids going directly to their parents and saying, how long do you plan to stay with dad? Because clearly he's disrespecting you. Or I know what goes on in the world. This kind of attitude is hurting you, and I don't like my parent to be treating the other parent like that. So definitely complications when kids are aware of what's going on in the family. The other thing is if there is going to be a divorce or separation, to be able to sit down and say, we are going to go ahead and separate because we need some time. And this is not going to affect you, except that you won't see dad or mom around as often as you would like. But if you do need to talk to them, feel free to call them. Ask me for the phone. You can FaceTime them anytime. It's really helpful if you make a point of scheduling opportunities for the parents to talk, even when it's not time for the other parent to come over, pick the kids up, or etc. It's also during this time that I highly recommend that you figure out how to spend extra time with your kids, because when you're in an emotional crisis, a lot of times you just want to shut down. And if you shut down for yourself, you are more than likely shutting down for your children, whether they're teens, kids, young children. So being able to put the extra time in is going to help them with increasing a sense of safety. Are my parents still there for me, or are they off in a different area having if issues? So just wanted to encourage something like that. And again, when you have teenagers, they can usually tell what's going on. Sometimes it's the teens that bust the parents and report what it is that they have observed. And it's really important to not involve the kids in the middle of the situation, other than to say, "This is what your kid found, and now I'm asking you questions." You'd be surprised at how many kids know that their parents have pornography issues because they run into it on the iPad, the phone, the laptop. Being able to control that or reduce, put some kind of way to block those kinds of things on your computer so that you're not using those for your acting out is really important. And then being able to talk to your kids about stuff like that, being able to figure out what is it that you want to teach your child about something like this. If they've witnessed this, being able to say that can be harmful, or I know that's confusing, but as adults, we're going to talk about that and we're going to figure out what we need to do. Thank you for letting me know. If you're the parent that got busted, please don't turn around and direct your anger or your negative comments towards your child, because there is a lot of shame and guilt for the child. What is it that I've done? I've caused these problems in my family. They start to label themselves as the individuals that are leading to this huge amount of chaos that's going on in their family. The other thing is they start asking questions like, if they're not happy and clearly there's something going on because of infidelity, where am I going to live? Who's going to have custody of me? Will I have to change schools? Are all my friends going to find out about this? Just stay on top of things and be able to have open communication with your kids at age appropriate levels. And then also be aware of when you decide you're going to discuss things. If you're arguing till 1 or 2 in the morning, that type of negative energy is hanging in the air. And when your parents are waking up and they're like not 100% in place because they didn't get any sleep, that becomes another issue. So 100% self-care for the parents, 100% communication for the kids, and then also devoting extra time, each parent, to having one-on-one with the kids, or maybe, and I'm not saying one-on-one as in take them out to go bowling or to the movies and do all these extra things like a Disney World dad or a Disney World mom. Only the exciting things get done when mom or dad come around. You wanna be able to do things like sit down on the floor and play with Legos, or have Barbie sessions, or do drawing together, or play games. All of those things are perfectly helpful, even going golfing if that's something that your family does. So, again, if you're needing help in this area, consider seeking out a therapist. There's child therapists that are licensed play therapists for younger kids under age 10, probably. And then there's people that specialize in working with teens because there's a lot of cognitive like thoughts that are difficult for young adults to figure out or teens to figure out. So being able to access help for them. It's not just you that gets hurt, it's not just your partner that gets hurt, but it's potentially everybody that's in the family. We won't even talk about what happens as far as extended family, like parents or siblings or best friends. That's a whole other episode, I guess, or a whole other video episode. So again, my name is Cheryl Camarillo. I'm a certified sex addiction therapist. I'm also certified to help with couples as they're starting their journey forward, whether they're deciding to separate or they're deciding to work this problem out. So you can reach out to me on my in the description and send me an email with your questions. I really want to be able to answer as much as I can because it's not easy accessing professionals that understand the situation. Y'all have a good rest of the day and hope that you appreciate the next video that comes out. Thank you.